So thank you for joining me, Jason R. Levine, also known as Fluency MC. This is a presentation for English language teachers around the world, but anybody is welcome. This is motivating students to practice English with rhythm and rhyme, and it is sponsored by American TESOL Institute. You might have seen me do other, on Facebook, up to this point, sessions for English teachers. Thanks to American TESOL Institute. Also being sponsored by Pitt. Pitt is a wonderful English language school in Paris, France, that's also branching out online. It says fluency there because I've partnered with Pitt and we're gonna come at you soon with some really cool materials. I can't continue without mentioning Innovative Teachers of English, the biggest and most active group of English teachers on Facebook. So if you're not already a member, please join us. For those of you who know me, you know my main work is doing workshops for students in schools around the world. Primary schools, middle schools, and high schools. I do a show called Rhyme on Time, and this is brought to you by Aurémie's Plaisir d'Apprendre. It's an association with the Éducation Nationale in France. Here's Rhyme on Time. Put a couple of slides here in case you haven't seen the work I do. And I was really lucky to be on this program recently, La France a un incroyable talent. I want to give you a little bit of history of myself as an English teacher and trainer as it connects to this theme of motivating students to practice English with rhythm and rhyme. I currently live in France, in Paris. I lived most of my life in the New York City area, New Jersey, Brooklyn, Manhattan. And when I lived in New York, I had two jobs. I was an English teacher, teacher trainer, and a DJ. And my students came from many different countries, right? I taught at international schools. I taught at university programs, preparing students for TOEFL, for university, and just students who came over for short periods to learn English. Everybody knew hip hop. I had students from so many different countries, different ideas, different cultures, but everyone had hip hop culture. How international, how universal this music is compared to other types of music. So that was a way I could connect with students from different countries in New York with hip hop because I was a DJ. I also noticed that despite the fact that my students were in a city, in a country where English was the most widely spoken language, they were not picking up English quickly, especially grammar structures, collocations, prepositions, right? Phrasal verbs that they were thinking, oh, I'm in New York. Well, I'm gonna go out there and suck up all this language. Well, that doesn't happen for most people. I thought, well, you know, music helps us remember language. This is not a new idea. I could use hip hop to help them remember English. But there was one problem. Is Nicki Minaj the best English teacher for you? So the problem is the content of hip hop, rap music, it's special for hip hop. To me, it's not about good or bad English. It's about what's appropriate for what you need. This is a picture of me when I was a DJ in New York, and I was completely ensconced in that culture. This is me with the rapper Nas. I was DJing and I was teaching English. I decided to write this song. They couldn't remember a lot of the grammar structures they needed to participate in class and to go out in the world to have more accurate English and more fluent English. People saw this video. A natural conclusion for many people was that I rap in class all the time. I'm the rapping teacher, right? Because here I am in the classroom rapping. But in fact, I put them on CD. I didn't perform in class with students except to introduce a song. The whole point was I wanted my students to be listening to my songs outside of class so they would come in class, and when they're in class, oh, I remember this irregular verb. I remember the meaning. I remember how to pronounce it, right? So it was basically a flipped classroom model, right? In the sense that the repetition, right? The songs, the exposure to the grammar and the vocabulary was happening outside of class. For me, what's really important is distinguishing between studying English or learning about the language, right? So, learning the meaning of these words, how the present perfect works, how to move your mouth to pronounce certain things, all very important, all right? But that's different from practicing English, which is really the repetition, which we're going to get to. I don't want to talk too much about practicing because we're going to be talking about it a lot in a moment. But it's important then also to distinguish using English. So for example, if I say to a student, oh, I have a friend here from California, you should go say hello and, speak English with her. That's not practicing English to me. That's using English, right? Because that student talking to my friend from California is using what they've got. What is English practice? I think it's very useful to compare it to music, especially today, since we're talking about music. You could also make analogies with sports, dance, painting, cooking, driving a car. You get the idea. Any skill, because it's a skill. Now, this boy, I think you will agree, most likely, is practicing the piano. This woman, on the other hand, if we imagine it's a concert hall, she has an audience, I don't think we'd call that practicing the piano. So this boy, he could be repeating scales or repeating the same piece of music many times. He's by himself. There's no audience there. Now, does he enjoy it or not? Is he having fun or he's not having fun? Is it interesting, motivating? That's, of course, crucial. So whether you are, practicing basketball shot or playing a game, right? You are learning a dance, performing the dance in front of people. What are you doing? You're repeating. So whether you look at the verb or the noun, yes, I am American, so I spell them both with a C at the end. My favorite slide maybe today. Now, if you look at this and you say, wait a second, this is not the updated Bloom's taxonomy. This is not the hierarchy of cognitive objectives that we use in our school. I get it. This is a very stripped down, purposely stripped down idea here. I think we all agree, or I certainly hope we all agree, that as teachers, we aspire to helping students move up this hierarchy, right? So that we are not teaching kids English so that you just are like robots and repeat things, right? They're getting somewhere where they're applying what they've learned, they're analyzing, they're using higher order thinking, right? And evaluating, creating, right? But here's the problem. You can have, and I've seen it everywhere I go, you can have the greatest lesson that's in the, green to the yellow, red area. And if the students don't have a base of grammar, a base of vocabulary at the bottom, a foundation, what's going to happen? They're going to tune out, they're going to be stressed, they're going to be bored, they're going to be discouraged. It's not the fault of your lesson. We just need to keep all those great lessons where students are up here towards the top, right? But make sure that before they start doing them, they've got a really solid foundation of English. And that's where practice comes in. My job in English language teaching, two things. One thing, to help students practice English out of class. As I said, the idea is not the in-class repeating songs many times. There's not time for that. That's time to work on projects, to work on what you need to do in your syllabus, right? So that's my job, through videos, through shows, and also to help teachers do this. And it doesn't have to be obviously with my songs. It doesn't have to be with music. There are different ways to get practice. We're going to talk about some different things, but of course we're going to be focusing on rhyme and rhythm for this particular presentation. In English language teaching, this is my favorite quote of all time. So it's my favorite quote of all time for anything. This is Chuck Sandy. Shout out to Chuck Sandy. Much respect for him and all of his work in English language teaching. Chuck said this in response to a question I asked for a blog post when I said, how can students improve their fluency? What do you think? I asked a bunch of people. There's a blog post on my site if you're curious and haven't seen that yet. He said, practice builds accuracy. And I did not feed him the practice idea. That's why I love this so much. Practice builds accuracy, meaning what? Meaning that, yes, you repeat things, your grammar gets better, your listening gets more accurate, your reading gets more accurate, your pronunciation gets more accurate. Does that mean perfect? No. But that accuracy, if people understand you better, if you understand them better, then what happens? You feel more confident. Well, with that confidence, you're out there becoming more fluent. Shout it out. It might not be what you think. Practice makes progress. I don't mind practice makes perfect, so long as the perfect does not stress out an English learner, because we're not talking about perfection. If it's, I want to keep repeating this dance, right? Repeating this piano because I want to do it perfectly, that's great motivation, but not perfect like I can't make mistakes. On the contrary, the repetition and the mistakes go together when you're repeating things, when you're building a skill. The mistakes are key. English learners everywhere, don't ever forget. The more you practice, the better you get. The better you get, the further you go. Just relax, repeat, remember, and you'll find your flow. That's what we're talking about here today, repetition. But what I like to call meaningful repetition. And what's inside meaningful? Enjoyable, natural. I'm always looking at what we naturally like to repeat. So if you think the answer to this question is a song, I'm with you. But only songs? What else do we like to repeat? Your favorite movie? The same story? Games? Maybe a short viral video? You know, a funny meme. Time in Warsaw, I just have to share this story because there's so many stories I have like this, and they really keep me going. They encourage me and inspire me more than any other type of story. One time in Warsaw, I was about to start a show with middle school students, and this girl came up to me before the show, about 14 years old, 13. Her English was, I mean, it was almost perfect. She grew up with no English in her life until, she said, she started playing a game online. And the game online was so exciting. She's playing with students from, you know, all over the world. I thought, God, she's playing this interactive game with other people. I don't know, people in Brazil, Korea, US, whatever. They're using chat English. They're not all native speakers or high-level speakers of English. How is it that this girl's pronunciation, grammar, you know, vocabulary is accurate and fluent, like just super high level? So I asked her, well, is there something else that you do besides play this game? And she said, well, you know, to play the game, I need to watch these YouTube videos that gamers make explaining how to play the game so I can do better in the game. Notice she's not saying, well, I need to learn English. I'm watching these videos to learn English. Well, if you know these gamer videos, these videos are, you know, 20 minutes long or longer. They are people engaging in conversation, most like high frequency collocations and grammar. You see the action of the game. So they're explaining like, okay, first you go in here and then you go around here, all the phrasal verbs, all the verb tenses, all of this in conversation. And here's the thing. When you ask a student, so do you watch a video once usually? Oh no, you know, to do better in the game, to understand what to do, I need to watch the same video over and over and over. That's meaningful repetition. If I say hello to you, what do you say? Probably you say hello, maybe hi. But if I say hello, I'm not a singer, I'm a rapper, sorry about that. Hello, you might be thinking, Or maybe if you're like me, my age, and I think I just said it that way, it's more, hello, is it me you're looking for? That's for the old people. For the young people, it's hello, it's me. Did you study this song learning English? Or was it practice? How about this one? Do you know? What do music and language have in common? What is going on here? I mean, yes, you can read a magazine article, but you're not going to remember all the great grammar and vocabulary in there if you read it once. Are you going to read it 10 times? Is it natural to read the magazine article 10 times? Songs, we naturally like to repeat them, like games. But there's something special here, right? It's not just the repetition. Some people would say, some people have said, do say, music is language, or language is music. My favorite thing to talk about with teachers and students is this. So I'm just choosing one thing they have in common, not because it's the only thing, but they both unfold over time. Think about hello, it's me. We know what's coming next because of what we heard before. Think about collocations, right? So have a party, not make a party. It could be more sentence level, right? If I had $1 million, I would, right? You can study that grammar, but that repetition, that once you know sort of what's coming next, well, music really does that, and does it especially because of rhythm and rhyme. That to me is a great example of fluency, to keep the flow going. Rhyme and rhythm in English language teaching, let's go. How does rhyme promote language learning? Talked about collocations, right? Chunking, right? Well, it's the same type of thing with a rhyme, right? Mine, shine. That's a chunk. The pattern that starts to develop, same sounds, the ending of the words with the same sound. That's easier for our brain. It gets stuck in your head, or like Despacito, or oh my God, baby. It may be very functional English that gets stuck in your head, or it could be garbage that's not necessary or interesting. Now, the third thing here, it sounds good, it sounds right, it sounds harmonious. That's, I think, ourselves, right, interpreting this encoding, right? Because when things go together, we like that. Why do we like it? I think because it's easier for our brains, right? When something's easier, it's more enjoyable. When something is enjoyable, it's easier. There's a very specific thing that rhyme can help with, and that is to make sense of sound, spelling, relationships. English, like French, which is my second language, but not like many other languages, depends on the language, has crazy disparity between how words are spelled and how they sound. For example, everybody repeat after me: come, from, gum, thumb. Very good. B, C, T, key. Nice. Her, sir, fur, were, so, no, go, do. We don't say do. We say do. So we can have words that are spelled differently but sound the same, and words that are spelled the same but sound different. Oh my goodness. Isn't that a huge problem? If your students say, well, I understand this word, but I don't know how to pronounce it, or I can't remember how to write this. You never say do, because do is so common. You don't have to think about how do I say this, how do I write this. If you read lyrics, right? You listen to songs, you read lyrics, guess what? You're reading, you're seeing how that word looks, how it sounds. So for example, I have a make or do song. Make or do or make, thinking about it will make your brain ache. Do yourself a favor, give yourself a break, relax and repeat for fluency's sake. This song is first and foremost for make, do collocations, but look, make, ache, break. We have different spellings with the ache sound. Don't need to think about phonetics, right? Just how it's written, how it sounds, right? We also have words like favor, which you might think it's favor. Why not? It looks like favor, but again, right? Lyrics, you are seeing how the words are spelled and how they sound at the same time. How does rhythm promote English language learning, everybody? Couple things here are copied and pasted from rhyme, because if you look, you'll see them there. Well, rhythm is inside us and all around us. Maybe rhyme is in us a little bit, but some languages don't have rhyme. But we all have rhythm. We have our heartbeat inside us, right? We had our mother's heartbeat. We have, walking. We have time. We have the ocean tides. We have seasons. We have swimming. We have traffic. We have the circadian rhythms, right? Rhythm is everywhere. Kinesthetic learning, like I have a song, turn it on, turn it off, put it down, pick it up, take it off, put it on, put it in, take it out. That's rhythm too. So that's an interesting difference, isn't it, between rhyme and rhythm, when there's so much we're saying is similar, right? That rhythm is not only sound. Right? Rhyme is sound, but rhythms are also movements. This rhythm repeats. So, goes together. This with this forms that predictable pattern. Helps us remember it. And last but certainly not least, it helps us make sense of the stress-timed nature of English, what I call shrinking and linking, reduced and connected speech. So for example, this is also from another song of mine called You Have It In You. You see the stressed words, right? And similar to the idea of, well, when you listen to songs, you don't have to think about the phonetics when you're reading. Similar here with rhythm. Don't have to think too much about, okay, what's stressed and what's not, if it's shown like I show it, and if the other parts are not stressed. So we don't say, have a party, have fun, have a cold, have a problem. Hello, it is nice to meet you. My name is Jason, right? It's have a party, have fun, have a cold, have a problem. Writing raps as I do, it's not to teach kids to rap, it's to have something very similar to the rhythm of conversation. So if I say this to you, not even like, slam poetry or something, just speaking, it's going to follow the same stress pattern. It doesn't change. So have a party, have fun, have a cold, have a problem. Have good weather, have a get together, have a test, have trouble, have friends, have plans, have a good time. You have it in you. Let's talk about motivation. We referred to it earlier. You saw how impassioned I got talking about the student in Poland, that idea of meaningful practice. I just want to play the game and I want to watch this video again. It's completely, intrinsic motivation. It's not extrinsic. It's not because my teacher told me to watch this or I feel I have to watch it, right? So what about music with motivation for English learners? Well, it's in all of us. There's something about music that can really hit your emotions very, very deeply. The sort of most basic one here. Well, if you like the song, you're going to listen again. I said earlier, you might like the magazine article, you read it again. Maybe. You like the same book, you read it again, but not tomorrow, usually, right? Like a song. So we're talking about repetition that's natural. Games are like this too. That's why games and songs to me are the best, where you're going to get, that intermittent practice with those, that spaced repetition. Songs, that happens naturally. Some people, you want to hear the song right away. It's not usually right away, but if you love the song, you're going to hear it very soon. You learn without looking when you stop feeling stressed. Having fun when you learn is when you learn the best. I make songs so that students can get the target language they need for communicative activities with their teachers stuck in their head, ready to go when they're in class doing a project, doing an activity with teachers, when they're at the post office, when they're taking a test, right? That English can pop out. It's great if you want to do music in class. I love when I hear teachers are having success doing songs with students in the classroom. However, I know there are a lot of challenges to doing it in class. And for me, Even today when I teach, now I do mainly shows with kids where we're doing the songs, we're doing the practice. But when I'm in a classroom as an English language teacher, I'm trying to help those students, right, with some communicative activity to prepare them for life outside the classroom. That's not usually music. It could be conversation, dialogue, helping with essay writing, presentations, whatever, right? How much language do they have ready for your activities? That's where music comes in. And that's where it comes in as something you do out of class. Teachers, if you have 3 hours a week with your kids, you don't have time to practice music in class. You don't have time for, repetition and drilling and repetition in the classroom. Why? When that's something they can do outside of the classroom as long as they enjoy it. It has to be natural and fun. I have a book, a classroom activity book for my songs. So if you're a teacher that has time and wants to do music in the classroom, or you have an English club, or you're teaching outside of a school, you have more time, check out my book. But there's so much we can do in the classroom when we motivate students. We can really help them do more practice outside. So that's what I'm going to focus on here. And here are some suggestions I have. The first one seems obvious, but it's pretty frequent when I hear stories from teachers like, I brought this song in and they just didn't like it. What do your students like? Find out. What songs do they already know? Do they have vocabulary and grammar that's on your syllabus? That would be great. If you know a song that has target language that you'd like to have them remember, try to find those songs, but think about what they like, because they might not like it. On the other hand, consider songs that they don't know. Maybe they think they won't like it, but they will. Class activities to learn more about musicians, so people can hear about that. If you know the backstory of the person, right, and you do that in English, that can be highly motivating. Please don't pressure students to, go and listen to music after school. Music helps you. I saw this thing about rhythm and rhyme. You can encode this language for the classroom better. If it's homework, if it's you have to go do this, that's where it's not natural. Make a class playlist. What are their favorite songs? Right? They may not be assigned to listen to those songs, but if they're sharing and seeing other songs they didn't know from their classmates, print out lyrics. YouTube playlists are very cool for classes. Introduce songs that are earworms. What's an earworm? I wish there were a term in English. If there is one, let me know. I'm still looking for one that sounds better than earworm, which is pretty disgusting. So it's the song that never leaves your head. We want those songs that they can't get out of their head. Some of them, like Dance Monkey, if that's what it's called, have great grammar structures in them. Present perfect. Do just enough with the song in a class so that they want to keep hearing it. Oh, I want to check out that song later. If you don't have a lot of time to do a whole song, right? And get into explaining the vocabulary and blah, 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 right? What about just a little bit? Just a teaser, right? So that they understand the main idea of the song and they understand maybe the chorus, that's it. Or maybe you do a little bit each day. Lyric gaming sites are fantastic. If you don't know lyricstraining.com, check it out. I have Stick, Stuck, Stuck. One of my songs is there where it's a game and a song together. What's better than that? Pop songs, rock songs, where also it's heavily dialect, which is interesting for a high-level student, culturally speaking, but not so useful if they've got students building that foundation of grammar and vocabulary. Then maybe it's standard, but the vocabulary, it's not really high frequency. Now, people writing songs are not, doing so with second language acquisition in mind. It also might not be good for your little ones to hear some of the language in that song, or the ideas don't work for the culture. These are all reasons, like I said, that motivated me to make my own songs, and also how you could make your own songs, which is another presentation that I hope to do soon. When people write songs, they're using poetic license with the language, and they're using poetic license with the stress as well. So a word like everybody, in most pop songs, it's everybody, right? everybody. Chanting and rapping is much more like oral discourse than a song that's more melodic and playing around with the language more. I remember kind of pushing students, go do the song, when they really hadn't had the time that's necessary and natural to hear the song, to read the song. And this is a good thing. We want to build the listening skills and reading skills. We want the repetitions before we're ready to speak. You do not have to rap or sing. I've had teachers so many times approach me and say, you know, Jason or Fluency, what you do is great, but I could never use your material. I say, really? Why not? Well, I don't rap. And I think, wow, that's really interesting, because if you bring in a movie clip, with Brad Pitt in it, are you going to be Brad Pitt? Are you going to try to talk like Brad Pitt? You want to give your students somebody else. Well, that's what it is when you bring in me, or you bring in another song. It's the same. If you want to sing and rap in class, great. But I strongly encourage you to consider the power of music outside the classroom, where the students can get the music, get these structures, these vocabulary words, so that they can come to class ready for your activity. If you're interested in the Fluency MC Song or video activity book, this is a teacher's book. You can photocopy the pages. It's PDF. It comes with MP3 sound files. So if you're wondering, do I get the songs? You do. I am really excited to share with you, speaking of out of class practice, I've started doing rhyme and rhythm workouts using online classrooms like Zoom. I had a really great one, 2 sessions. We have one more to go with the English Club. That's what they're called, just the English Club of Ukraine. I love that, the English Club. And they deserve a name like that because they are huge and dynamic and just wonderful. We did a brainstorming session of words that rhyme, and not that have to be perfect rhymes, near rhymes. Like, okay, shine, line, combine, but climb, rhyme, satisfying. A student said, what about satisfying? I love that. I was like, yeah, because you can rhyme, it's satisfying, multiplying. And we went from there to writing some rhymes together, and from there we are writing a song together. I want to demonstrate a song that is this idea of practice out of class. For this song, you need to know 3 things. The first thing you need to know is your name. So if you don't know your name, call your mother and ask her. No. Be ready. So when I say, my name is Fluency, what's your name? You say, and then the question, what's your name? Notice the intonation, your, right? What's your name? So my name's Fluency, what's your name? You got the rhythm? The next thing is where you live. So you need to know your name and where you live. I live in Paris. Where do you live? I said I live in Paris. Where do you live? Got it? And one more, things you like. So it could be a noun, a thing, like I like computers, I like pizza, or it could be something you do, right? I like listening to music. I like to go out and play. I like books and sports. How about you? How about you? Got that? I like listening to music. What do you like to do? In the video, here we go. Check it out, everybody.
It's Fluency. MC. Fluency.
Let's go.
Hello, how are you? It's nice to meet you. I like books and sports. How about you? I like listening to music. What do you like to do?
If you would like a rhyme and rhythm workout for your English students, please email me, support@fluencymc.com, or if you know how to get in touch with me through Instagram, FluencyMC, or through Facebook, that's there too. I'm booking shows now in different countries. Thanks to American TESOL Institute and Prep It for providing the Zoom room. Next Thursday, April 23rd, at this exact time, same place. So remember that, same time, same place, new link. I'll be doing a rhyme and rhythm workout for free. You do not have to pay for this one. It's for English learners 8 to 12 years old. So a song like we just did, for example, sort of A level. Now, if you think somebody younger than 8 might like that song and someone older than 12, I agree with you. I've done, the songs I'll do will be aimed at, younger learners, parts of the body, alphabet, this kind of thing, birthdays. But if you have learners, I'm talking to teachers and parents now. If you have learners at home during the confinement that want to practice, I'll be doing this next week. If it's all ages, but focusing on 8 to 12. Email me for details or contact me on Facebook or other social media or American TESOL Institute. When you relax and enjoy your time, it's easy to learn with rhythm and rhyme. Or when you relax with rhythm and rhyme, it's easy to learn and enjoy your time. You can mix and match this one. I like to mix and match when I rap. And finally, what we learn with pleasure, we never forget, or we always remember. Thanks very much for being here, everybody. Really appreciate how many of you all turned out for this live session. Thank you so much, American TESOL Institute, for this opportunity to reach so many teachers. Thanks to Prep It Fluency. Thanks for being here, everybody. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you're confined and you can rhyme and shine while you're confined online. Signing out from Paris, France, Fluency MC. Peace and respect. Bye-bye, everybody.